Alrighty folks, coming at you guys today with the version 1.4 patch notes breakdown. We finally got the patch notes. This patch, as you see here, is coming out March 11th. It says 6 a.m., but you know there'll be downtime on the servers when that drops, so don't expect to be able to play it around 6 a.m. But Tuesday the 11th, we are getting 1.4. You've probably seen a lot of people playing on the test servers already, probably seen plenty of gameplay of this new hero Boris, but we're going to go through the official patch notes that we got. Again, I expect within the first week, honestly, of this patch coming out to see either multiple hot fixes to fix some of the broken heroes or a full balance patch the following Tuesday to clean up how absolutely unbalanced and broken this game is going to be after 1.4. Massive amount of changes. You can see this scroll bar here is quite tiny, so we've got a lot to go through. This is going to be a two-part series. This part we're going to go over the general balance changes, some of the stuff that they added like the battle pass and adjustments to minions and stuff like that, as well as item changes. And in the other video we're going to go over the new hero Boris and all of the hero changes, because there is quite a lot of hero changes. Pretty much all heroes are getting adjusted, and I haven't even looked through all of them yet because there's so many changes. So let's get right into it, talk about the general gameplay changes and item changes. If you want to see the Boris breakdown and the rest of the hero changes, check out the other video. I will link it in the description and put the thumbnail up here. So let's get right into it. Let's glass over Boris. We'll save him for the other video. Like I said, there's plenty of gameplay already out of people playing Boris on the test server. He's going to be ridiculously overpowered and broken, but we all know that, so that's all good. So the Shadow Ops organization are here. We are getting the Shadow Ops Battle Pass as our first Battle Pass, well, aside from Winterfest. And it is coming with 60 tiers, 50 tiers. I think they originally said in the preview video that it was going to come with 60, but 50 tiers, and it will run from March 11th to May 27th. So over a month and a half plus of this battle pass. That may mean that May 27th is when we're looking at 1.5 coming out. I don't know what their plans are long term for this, but 50 tier battle pass, going to be really exciting. We don't get a full breakdown of everything that's in it, like level by level here, but we do get an overview right here that of what all is going to be in it. We get the Shadow Ops Sereth skin, which I'm assuming is that one right there. Yep, that's pretty cool. Crimson Shadow Ops, exclusive Crimson Shadow Ops, so a recolor of the Sereth Shadow Ops skin. 2,000 Opals, 400 of which will be in the free pass. This will be similar to the Winterfest pass, where there's a free portion and a purchasable portion, so that's why you're seeing these in parentheses free. So 12 quantum cores, only 2 of those coming with the free pass. 4 exclusive sprays, 1 coming with the free pass. 4 overhead emotes, 1 coming with the free pass. Ion cores, which are all in the free track. 10k amber in the free track. And 4 icons and banners, which are coming in the free track. So this is going to be exciting to have more customizables to unlock. Obviously, the addition of loot cores, which we've talked about before, and opals in general, giving us more cosmetics to earn for hopping on each day and playing games, is going to be really exciting. I think a lot of this is going to be base skin recolors and stuff like that. But still, we need more cosmetics in the game, especially ones that you can unlock without having to purchase them. So great on them. Definitely will be interesting when this full pass hits the game menus on making the call if we purchase the upgraded version or we stick with the free version. It's really going to come down to, do we like the skins that come in the purchasable version? So check that out. That will be exciting. New skins, of course, Shadow Ops Boris, Shadow Ops Greystone, Shadow Ops Yin, Shadow Ops Sereth. This is the one that will be in the pass. So pretty cool. And then the return of Shadow Ops Twin. We've had him in the game for a while, but he's coming at a discount. So don't buy any of these. I don't know why you would. They're going to be ridiculously overpriced. So don't buy these. Probably the price of one of these skins, like the price of just this Greystone skin or just this Shadow Ops Boris skin, will be enough to get you the entire battle pass. So I would not recommend buying any of these skins. Ometa, if you're listening, please cut all of your skin prices in half. You will make more money. That is beside the point. So yeah, here's some bundles. Here's some bundles for some skins, some emotes, some heroes. Don't buy any of these. Yeah, just don't buy any of these. Like this Shadow Ops Mega Bundle is probably going to be something like $40, $50 or something crazy. So don't buy any of these. But that's beside the point. Loot cores and opals. So opals are the new currency that we're getting that is obtainable from loot cores when you get duplicate skins for them. We'll go through this TLDR real quick. They posted loot cores overview on, I guess, both their website and on Twitter that when they teased it a little while ago. But loot cores are free chests containing random loot. Each core contains cosmetic items or currency. So that's going to be any of the 3 forms of currency that we currently have. I think platinum, amber, and opals. Skins, banners, profile icons, sprays, overheads, recalls, jump pad effects, platinum, amber, and opals. So yeah, rarity can range from common to legendary. Duplicate drops are converted to opals, so you don't have to worry about pulling duplicate skins because you will get opals, which you can now use to purchase rewards from the exclusive opal store. So there's going to be some skins in these opal store you can only purchase with the new opal currency, which is cool. So yeah, massive wave of new content. Every hero is now has at least 2 new skin recolors. So this is their base skin, but they're receiving recolors, which will be available for Amber. So that's great news, something to spend our Amber on. They're also receiving new banner and icons, new sprays, overhead, emotes, plenty to unlock. This is what we needed, more cosmetics to get people invested in the game and retain players that have something to look forward to unlocking. So all of this is really exciting. Loot cores, yada, yada, yada. We've looked at all this before on their Twitter page and stuff. But yeah, really excited for all this. Going to be interesting to see what all is included in those as they come out. Skin variants. Yeah, you no longer have to own the base skin to equip a color variant, so that's, a nice little extra bonus too. Color variant separate. Discord integration, voice chat. We went over all of this when they did the reveal. Massive Discord integration with predecessor. Going to be really cool. They have a brief little paragraph here on it, but we'll see what it looks like when we actually get in game. Link your Discord to your predecessor account and what all features are coming in this patch versus in the future patches. They're going to continue to expand it. So for right now, we're just looking at comms, voice comms in-game, which is really exciting. New custom game modes as well now. You don't have to just do 5v5s. You can set up 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, and 4v4s, which is pretty cool. I think this will all still be on the normal map, potentially on the Brawl map, but until we get like a Joust map or the ability to run 1v1s, 2v2s on the practice map, this isn't that exciting because, what are you going to do? A 1v1 in the full-size map is kind of crazy, so I don't know how that's going to work out, but hero kits adjustments and reworks, yep, this is just the short version, but basically all heroes are getting changes, some of them big, some of them small. We'll go through that in the other video, like I said, link in the description. Rank toxicity improvements. This is more harsh AFK punishments and stuff like that, particularly for ranked mode, which is good. Ranked, you don't want people going AFK and ranked and ruining the experience for everyone else. So we welcome more of this for sure. Hit people with hard bans, man, when they're being super toxic, really. New item, Aegis of Agawar. This is a pretty wild item that they've added. People have been really liking it in the test servers. It is 3150, gives 25 power, 450 health, which is a lot of health, 15% crit, which is pretty crazy. This is the recipe for these items. Bludgeon, the first passive, gain physical power equal to 2.5% of your bonus health. So this is basically the Overlord passive where you get your health converted to bonus power. Overlord has lost that passive, so now this is the only item with it. They don't both still have it. But interesting to see that it still stays in the game. But more importantly, the other passive is pretty wild. Agawar's protection gain 10% total physical armor and 10% total magical armor just at all times, and then while below 40% health, you gain 30 of both of these armors. instead, so it does not stack up to 40% bonus armor. So this is basically similar to the catalytic drive, cybernetic drive item that we have, except you don't have to evolve it. You get 10% bonus armors on both right when you build it, and then even more when you are below 40%. So really crazy. You can stack this with that catalytic drive item and just have a ridiculous amount of armor. People have already been saying that this is overpowered on the test server, and it probably is, so we'll see how this balances out, but exciting new item there. Gameplay changes, the summary, we'll go through this because this is kind of the more important parts. If you want to see each percentage change, they're down here, but most of them are covered right here, so let's go through this and then we'll hop right into the item changes. So, Reworks adjustments and large-scale balance adjustments to all existing heroes. Yep, like I said, we'll go over that in the other video. Default ranged basic attack range increased from 13 to 1500 units. So ranged auto attackers have longer range now, which is really interesting. Gonna shake things up a little bit because closing the gap's gonna be that much harder if you're a melee hero trying to run down a ranged hero. We'll see how this pans out. There's also been a lot of movement speed changes, so this may not be as impactful as it seems right now, but that seems like a pretty decent adjustment. It's going to make carries a lot stronger for sure, so we'll see. Default jump height and gravity slightly increased, so the jump height is higher, the base jump height is higher, but gravity is also increased by quite a bit, so I think this will balance out to you not jumping that much higher, and definitely coming down faster, not that much more hang time, because it's basically double jump height and double gravity, so I don't think you're really going to get... We'll see how this feels in game, but it's just jumping, it's not like ability jumping, so maybe when you're comboing this with moon boots and stuff, this will be a little bit crazier, but the gravity is a big boost, so... Combat penalty for melee and ranged heroes increased from 20 to 25, so this is how much you are slowed down when you're auto-attacking. So for melee heroes, it is going to be 25% slowdown when you're auto-attacking, and for ranged heroes, it is going to now be a 30%, so both of them just going up 5%. Default movement speed for all heroes increased by approximately 5%, so because of this, you're going to see in the items category that a lot of the move speed boosts are decreased in their potency because the base move speed is faster. So you don't need, and all the move speeds are based on percentage, so if your base move speed is higher and you only gain, 4% movement speed instead of 5% movement speed, you're still moving way faster because you're applying that 4% to a larger base number. So we'll see how this feels in game. Should just increase the pace a little bit. I mean, this is just approximately 5%, so not crazy. Blink proxy added, so this is something we saw in the 1.4 reveal where you can blink mid-ability casts or wind-ups and it doesn't interrupt the abilities. So think about Aurora ult, you can start the ult as it's charging up, blink into people so that you can't get interrupted out of it as easy. Narbash ult, you could start ulting and then when it gets close to the final hit, you can blink into the people and get a big AoE knock-up. So this will be interesting, very applicable to a lot of heroes. Applicable to Grux, who wants to start charging his pull maybe and then blink in, or Terra, who wants to start charging her dash and then blink in and finish the dash. So stuff like that will be interesting. Maybe difficult hitting those button combinations on controller, but we'll see how that pans out. Blink range decreased by a little bit, not that big of a hit for sure. Ward and sentry radius increased by 50%, so yeah, wards are now massive. Wards cover entire jungle lanes, no problem. This also applies to, the sentry radius, so you can detect wards from much further out when you're hitting the counter ward sentry. Shields now benefit from heroes' armor, so this is a big one. Shields before were just a health pool that took true damage. It had no armor on it, so Hero throws a shield on you, somebody deals 450 damage to the shield, it deals that full damage to the shield. Now your shields will have your armor on it just like your health pool does, so definitely a strong buff to shields. Because of that, you're going to see a couple of the shielding items get nerfed, and some shielding adjustments on heroes that apply shields, but I think overall shields as a whole are going to be much more powerful even though they're kind of adjusting a lot of the numbers down because of that armor. So minions now spawn earlier, so 45 seconds instead of 60. So yeah, same thing with the jungle camps. Jungle camps and lane minions spawn earlier, so there's less time where you're just hanging out at the beginning of the game, but that's cool. I mean, it's only 15 seconds, so we kind of needed that. There's a lot of downtime at the beginning of the match to try to run around and hide in weird places and gank the enemy jungle and weird stuff, so we'll take 15 seconds off of the downtime at the beginning of matches. Minion damage and durability adjusted. I looked at this briefly. The numbers are really slight, so it's not like that crazy on minion damage and durability. It's just, slight adjustments. We'll see how they pan out. Again, a lot of this I think will get adjusted in the future when they do a balance patch following 1.4, so don't put too much credence on that. Minions are no longer fully executed by damage over time and multiple damage instance damage, so they're now only set at a lower threshold. So before, minions would get executed if they were below their execute threshold by tick damage, like Aegis burn or Megacosm ticks or stuff like that. They're still going to be killable by those tick damage abilities, but their execute threshold is like half, I think, basically. So you've got to get them a lot lower for that final tick of Iggy burn or, Morgesh with Megacosm to just clear a full wave of minions instantly. They won't go down quite as instantly, but they can still be killed by damage over time ticks, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. 3 ranged minions are now present in every wave from the start, so more minions per wave right off the rip is interesting because farm is very important in this game, and last hitting is very important, and there was a couple changes to how much gold you get per minion kill, so they've probably balanced it all out to be about the same. Yeah. So for the very next line, adjustment to minion gold values and hero kill comeback XP. So I think with extra minions and reduced gold per minions, it's going to kind of pan out. You just got to focus on your last hits like you always have been. All of this is subject to change for sure. Added a new comeback XP mechanic when players are excessively underleveled. So if you're underleveled and you do get a kill, you get a bunch of bonus XP. So that's pretty cool. Trying to balance the matches out. They don't need to be one-sided from the very start and stay one-sided. I like having good comeback wins, so this will facilitate that more. Especially in the situations where like one person on your team gets really behind, like your solo laner's way behind, they can get one kill and kind of bounce back a little bit. So movement speed buffs when stacked to high amounts now have less diminishing returns. So that's kind of weird that there's like multiple like double negatives and stuff in there, but movement speed buffs when stacked to high amounts now have less diminishing returns. So if you're stacking multiple movement speed buffs, that makes me think that you're going to gain more benefit from all of them and move quicker overall. So that's good. A lot of the movement speed buffs, like I said, did get nerfed themselves, so stacking them is probably beneficial to really get insane movement speed. Death timers have been adjusted to be faster in the early game, so if you die early game, less penalty for it, you'll be back up sooner. Gateways now become active at 8 minutes and grant movement speed on arrival. It doesn't say right here as well, but it says below. You're also no longer visible to the enemy team when you're going through the teleporter, so being able to go through the teleporters earlier, the teleporter from gold to cyan is what these are talking about. Being able to go through them sooner, not be visible when you're going through them, and come out of them with a movement speed definitely means that the ganks from solo to duo or vice versa are going to be pretty brutal and something you got to keep an eye out on. I don't think this is going to be so impactful though that you're like warding the gateways or anything crazy. Enhanced river bugs now spawn at 16 minutes. Previously this was 21 minutes, so kind of just increasing the pace of the game, getting the game rolling quicker. Same thing with this one. Fangtooth now spawns at 4 minutes rather than 5. Or was it 6? It was either 5 or 6, but now it's 4 minutes. Default crit strike damage increased from 155 to 165. Make crits deal more damage is cool. Why not? If crit's a problem for your team, you need to be building the anti-crit item anyway, so want it to feel impactful when you build crit versus building on hit. Speaking of which, on-hit effects now benefit from lifesteal instead of magical lifesteal, so this is pretty impactful for some heroes who may be building some carries, particularly that are building a lot of lifesteal and maybe also building on-hit items like Sky Splitter, Resolution, Spectra, Solaris, who get on-hit procs. You can now benefit from the lifesteal from those procs. So, soft reworks to various existing items. Like I said, Overlord no longer has that max health to power conversion. The new item, Aegis of Agawar, got that, and Mind Razor now has the Resolution mana conversion to power ability on it. So we'll talk about those in just a second. Here is all the details on all of that quick overview of general gameplay changes. I don't really want to go through all of these for you. They were kind of pretty much all covered above. We will look at a couple of these though. So yeah, we talked about the movement penalty, a little bit harsher penalty for auto attacking, increased range from 13 to 1500 for basic attackers, ranged basic attackers, shorter range blink, comeback XP. So if you're way down, you get more XP for takedowns. This also says general XP when at massive level deficit. So this may be minion XP as well. Stronger critical strike damage. Damage over time now restores 100% of the damage over time value for lifesteal and magical lifesteal. So that's cool. Makes tick damage healers in mid lane more powerful. Shorter death timers at the beginning of the game, but it's going to be about the same at the end of the game. This is base timer, and then after 10 minutes, the penalty starts stacking up more and more on this. So, gold last hit, gold share increased. I don't know what the whole gold share thing is. Near gold share increased. So this is just the gold that like your support gets when the carry last hits a minion and stuff like that. And then gold drip delay decreased, and gold drip increased. So this is just the normal gold that you get just from being, in the game. Jump, here's what I was talking about. Jump velocity increased by nearly double. A lot more in-air control, but then gravity is almost triple. So don't expect that this huge jump velocity change makes you really go much higher, because gravity is near tripled. It's like 2.8 times. So you're definitely going to fall a lot quicker now, which is nice. The game did feel a little floaty at times when you're jumping over walls and stuff like that before. So kill XP, bonus XP for killing higher level heroes increased. So yeah, like I said, more comeback, and then XP penalty for killing lower level heroes increased. So less XP when you kill people that are way down is good for keeping the team that's behind in the game. Movement speed penalties. Penalties now stack multiplicatively with other slows. The slow effects will choose the largest value. Move speed penalties increased by 5%. So general move speed increase across all heroes, but slows are a little bit more effective. A lot of the items got movement speed bonus reductions, but then didn't get their slows increased or weakened any, so this kind of is just like a general buff to all slows to kind of make up for that. Multiple damages instance no longer fully executes minions. Yeah, here we go. Damage over time and multiple damage instances now execute minions when 2 times their damage value would result in a kill within the execute threshold. So basically they've just got to be a lot lower before the tick damage is going to execute them, which is cool. On-hit effects now benefit from lifesteal instead of magical lifesteal. On-hit effects are now classified as any secondary damage instance. Yep, so other than your actual auto attack, proc damage is now a parent to on-hit effects. I don't know, that's just kind of an interesting wording. I don't know what's really necessary to specify that, but all on-hit effects are proc damage and will interact with other effects the same way they did before besides lifesteal. Okay, so yeah, they'll still stack. If you have 2 magical on-hit procs hitting at the same time, they still stack. Other instances of proc damage also interact the same as before and still benefit from magical lifesteal instead of lifesteal. So yeah, we'll see. The damage numbers when they pop up are clear on if it's magical or physical damage usually, so we'll see how this pans out in game. This is really just a lifesteal change, so not a raw damage change. Shields now benefit from armors. Like I said, this is really big. Speed buffs, movement speed caps increased. So the movement speed cap is higher. If you get multiple speed up boosts, you can move a little bit quicker, which makes sense. And movement speed penalties increased 5% just near the beginning of the game, but not in the late game. I don't know what this movement speed penalties is referring to. Maybe when you have multiple move speed buffs stacked at once. The first or the second one will only give you 80% of the move speed. I don't really know. This is kind of worded weird. Wards radius increase, so yeah, wards are much bigger, but the invisibility delay increased from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. So yeah, we saw a lot of times where someone would put a ward down and you would see them put the ward down, but you would still not be able to get 3 autos on it. Now you have an extra second to get those 3 autos on it and destroy it, so, but they have a much bigger range. Tower changes. Fingers crossed that in this patch we would get massive damage boost to towers, but we are not seeing that, which is really unfortunate. We are seeing the armor plates, the gold plating on towers getting reduced from the 15-minute mark to the 12-minute mark. They're trying to increase the pace of the early game a little bit. And then local gold decreased, so you get less gold from those plates as well. Global gold decreased by 25. When you take a tower, the rest of your team gets a little bit less gold. And then the gateways, which we already talked about, open at 8 minutes now. Charge up time decreased by a second, so you can go through them a lot quicker. Travel time decreased by 1/3 of a second, so you get over to the other side quicker. No longer grants vision of enemies when they are standing on the gateway or in flight. So you would not see or be seen when going through gateways. After traveling, 50% decaying movement speed for 3 seconds. Like I said, those ganks coming through the portals are going to be pretty powerful. And then pre-20-minute cooldown is only 3 minutes, and then post-20-minute cooldown is only 2 minutes, which is crazy short cooldowns. You could potentially teleport over there, get in a team fight, and then teleport right back to the other side again. So this will be interesting. The no vision is definitely the biggest one here, in my opinion. Because before you'd go through it, you know the whole team saw you go through it. Now you do not have to worry about that. Minion changes, this is what I was kind of talking about. Gold changed on melee minions from a flat amount to an amount that scales up. And XP increased. Overall, this is going to be less gold at the beginning of the game, but then it's going to catch up. And then XP increased just slightly, so more XP in the early game, less gold. Ranged minions, same way. Less gold early game, catches up to more late game. And XP actually decreased on the ranged minions, and then the siege minions, the ones with the big cannon, we usually call them cannon minions, changed to a little bit less gold at the beginning of the game, more in the late game, same as the others. And XP changed to quite a bit more, significantly more XP from the cannon minions. And then super minions, this is when the inhib is down, now have increased health, increased armor, and increased damage by quite a bit. Good grief, that is a hard-hitting super minion right there. So, jungle changes. Monster, this is Hunt, so the Hunt item, healing increased when attacking the monsters from 5 to 7%, so that's nice. Forest Dwelling low health monsters, so the smaller ones, extra healing of course as well. And Forest Dweller burn base damage increased from 10 to 14, so Hunt just making the jungler better at clearing the jungle camps faster. Red buff, blue buff, and all of the camps initially spawn sooner. All of the camps, the white camps, have increased XP by approximately 25%. That's good, keep the jungler leveled up. A lot of times in the live patch, jungle can fall multiple levels behind solo by the mid game, so this will hopefully keep them up. red and blue buff XP also increased, mainly just in the late game, not the early game. So cyan buff, additional XP per minute decrease, so cyan less impactful on the XP front. Fangtooth spawns a minute sooner. Orb buff duration, mini orb buff duration is shorter. It did seem kind of long before. And the actual big orb buff now is a lot different. So before it gave you 15% bonus damage just right off rip, and it also gave you a bunch of health and mana regen. Those are both no longer the case. Now it gives you a flat physical and magical power boost based on when in the game, how late in the game orb is taken. The minion buff radius, when you turn your minions purple and they get stronger, is also a lot larger. And the melee buff minion damage reduction increase, so the buff to your minions is a lot stronger, making them take less damage. So it's more based around giving you flat power now and making your minions stronger that you're around, rather than giving you percent power and health and mana regen. So I like that. That's what they wanted to go to. It kind of makes sense. River buff. Some interesting changes to river buff here. Green buff, giving you smaller shields. Like I said, shields are stronger, so that makes sense. Gray buff, giving you significantly less movement speed, but general movement speed is faster, so that kind of makes sense. Enhanced gray buff, again, a lot less movement speed on it. Orange buff, giving you more Omnivamp on the enhanced orange buff, which is interesting. I guess they want that to feel more impactful. And keep in mind, this is Omnivamp, so this affects mid laners' abilities as well. And they initially spawned, like I said, at 16 minutes rather than 21 minutes. So kind of bringing that pace of the game down, that early game pace up a little bit, and shifting the matches down a little bit to hopefully maybe be shorter. We'll see if the games come out shorter. They should. Now this next section is hero balance changes. Like I said, you can see where our scroll wheel is. There's quite a bit of hero balance changes here to go over. Almost every hero getting affected. We will go through that in the other video, link in the description to that one, because my goodness, pretty much every hero is getting touched. So let's go through item balance changes now. So there is quite a few of these to go through, not nearly as many as the hero balance changes, but still some pretty important ones that you need to keep in mind. First off, the stealth ward and the support ward, longer range. Same thing with the sentry, longer range. So all wards really big now, and the sentry to take wards out really big now. We'll see what kind of a difference that really makes. It's just wards, so I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, but if you're someone who knows the importance of wards, you probably like this. Tier 1 and Tier 2 support crest, gold to evolve decreased, so you're going to be able to get those support crest evolved sooner, which is really nice. Quite a bit sooner here, 3 procs sooner on both T1 and T2, so 6 total procs sooner to get your crest evolved as a support is quite nice. Silentum, you're going to be able to hit from further away. What's not to like? Leaf Song, movement speed decrease, so you're going to see a lot of this, less movement speed buffs across all items because of the general movement speed increase that everyone's getting for free. Sanctification, smaller shield and smaller shield scaling. This is another thing that we're going to see across most of the items. Since shields now have armor being applied to them, shields do not have to be as big for them to be just as impactful, if not more. So I think this is still really strong. Sanctification doesn't affect the tenacity that it gives your team as well, so Sanctification is still a very strong crest. Soul Bearer, getting nerfed pretty hard here. A little bit less movement speed as you would expect. Movement speed, like I said, coming down on items, and the cooldown increased majorly, which we also see for Time Flux Band here. Again, a movement speed reduction and also a mana refund reduction. So a couple Mage Crest getting longer cooldowns. Tempest, kind of interesting here, getting a big hit to the damage. 50% to 30% on the additional strike damage. Kind of hurts it a little bit. Overcharge healing increased though from 40 to 60, so a lot more healing to make up for the less raw damage. And then 1 second shorter duration, so it's going to be a shorter burst of more powerful healing rather than a long drawn out damage tick that you were getting from it. Next, has a shorter duration of which it's storing that power from your damage that you've been outputting, so you're going to have to time it pretty well right after you hit someone with a big burst if you want to get the damage out of next. And the stored decreased is also scaled down from 20 to 15%, so still good for movement, still good for a slow, but a little bit less damage coming out of next. Ortis, again, we're seeing decreased movement speed bonuses. We're seeing that across like almost all items, like I said. And on this one also, decreased power per stack from 3 to 2, so Ortis has been kind of strong, so this is kind of understandable. Late game, someone who's got 30 Ortis stacks is ridiculously strong, so a little bit of nerf to Ortis. Liberator, Purifying Guard shield decreased. Again, like I said, the shields have to come down because armor is now applied to them, so this 80 is still probably stronger than this previous 100 after armor. Bug fix, it's great, now states the amount of shield. And then Purifying Guard shield bonus physical power scaling decreased. So a little bit less power, a little bit smaller shield, but armor's applied to it, so it's quite good. Pacifier now states the base damage in the description. Great. Icecorn Talons, Glacial Colosseum movement speed decrease. Like I said, we're seeing movement speed decreases across almost all items. Slow decrease on this as well from 15 to 10%. And duration decreased by 2 seconds. Icecorn has been one of the stronger crests for a long time now, so this will probably bring it more into line with the other items. I'm glad they at least didn't add a cooldown reduction increase to this as well. Refillable Potion. No longer scales per level on the health per second that you get from it. It has its base health per second increased, and then it has breakpoints now where the health per second is boosted up at 6, 11, and 16. So no longer on each level scaling, it's at breakpoints. So maybe you can play around that, probably not really. Maybe like if you're close to level 6, you hold one of your pots or two or both of your pots, wait till you hit 6 to hit them, or 11 or so on, but probably not. Divine Pot, same thing, no longer gives health per level scaling, instead has breakpoints on the healing gain from it. So again, probably something you're not playing around. Intellect Tonic, we're going to see all the tonics here. They all got a price reduction from $750 to $500, which is interesting because you're already really only building these when you're full build anyway. But maybe now there'll be situations where you build it and you're not full build since they are cheaper. And they're also more potent. This one the magical one gives 10 extra magical power now and can only be purchased at level 13. So maybe you're picking some of these up sooner. The stamina one is quite nice. Changed from 300 flat health added to 12% of your max health, and also now gives 20 ability haste. So that's quite good. Removes the health regen in favor of ability haste is quite strong on the health tonic, and also percent scaling. So if you're building multiple tank items, it may be good to pick this up a little bit sooner. That's the whole point of the cost reduction. Strength tonic. No change to it, just a cost decrease and a level decrease. Same thing with protection. Cheaper, and you can buy it at 13 instead of 11. So we'll see if those really make an impact. I wouldn't think they make that big of an impact. Alright, coming into Lucky Feather here. Gold on kill decreased from 6 to 5. So if you're just straight farming minions with it, not quite as potent. Killing siege minions now grants 15, so the cannon minions do grant you even more, which is nice. And killing heroes now grants 30. So if you're building it on jungle and you're ganking a lot early, it definitely rewards you for that risk-reward balance of, do I dive in and get this kill, or do I dive in and die and lose feather? You're going to get paid off a little bit more if you make those aggressive plays and complete them. Some tier 2 changes. Cleaver getting a cost reduction. It's always nice, good to have Cleaver on as soon as possible in the jungle for faster clear. Horn Plate getting stronger anti-heal. All of the anti-heal items are getting slight boost to how much anti-heal they provide. So we see Horn Plate, Loach Shaw both getting 5%, Serrated Blade getting 5%, and Spiked Birch getting 5%. Polar Treads, the out-of-combat movement speed decreased. We're seeing movement speed come down a little bit. So that kind of matches the rest of the changes. And then the last one, the rune bow, cost decrease, magical power increased, and attack speed decrease. This is in line with the plasma blade change that you'll see in just a second. So that is it for the tier 2s. Let's go into the full items now that are getting adjustments. First one is one of the more exciting ones in my opinion as well. Absolution getting moved into the fighter category, getting a 50 gold reduction in cost for 5 extra magical armor. I think this is really nice. I think that there's a lot of situations where you're not actually you're almost never really building this at carry, because it's just like rare that that magical armor is enticing enough for you to want to buy it. But I think moving into the fighter category and this offering attack speed kind of makes this an alternative to Miss Meadow Buckler that you may see on more auto attack solo laners build or junglers. I'm thinking Seraph or Greystone who want auto attack and want magical armor. This may be a good option rather than Mist Meadow for them to build. So exciting to see if more people pick up Absolution. A really strong anti-CC item in general. Like, you know, if CC is a problem, Absolution is definitely something you should be considering. Dust Devil movement speed decrease when you snack its passive. We're going to see that on a lot of items. Lightning Hawk slow decreased from 30 to 20. Like I said, we're also seeing a lot of slows weakened. Lightning Hawk has been a little too strong for too long now, so let's bring it down a notch. Bonus physical power scaling decreased as well on the proc, the magical damage proc that it hits you with, so good to see that. A Noxine Quiver gaining 5% lifesteal is kind of interesting. This is not a very favorable item on most carries, but going to 10% lifesteal definitely makes it more attractive of an item, especially on the carries that are going to benefit from the attack speed anyway. So maybe a good second item for a lot of carries now. I'm thinking Sparrow might like it second. Who else? Grim probably likes it second. Drongo maybe can even benefit from it. Plasma Blade. So Plasma Blade is gaining 5 magical power in exchange for 5 less attack speed. I think a lot of the heroes that are building Plasma Blade, they really don't mind this. It's a lot easier to overcap attack speed, and magical power has no overcap. So we will take that change. But also some of the heroes that you just throw this on to troll would rather have the attack speed. So we'll see. There's not that many good attack speed magical power items in the first place. So like you got this and Prophecy pretty much. So we'll see if that probably doesn't really make a big difference. Sky Splitter getting reverted back from its 3% health damage to 4%. This is what it was before it got nerfed. And it's also getting now 6% current health damage for melee heroes. So this is a really strong buff for Sky Splitter on heroes that like it and build from melee heroes that like it, like Grux, Seraph type heroes. You're definitely liking this Sky Splitter change. That is going to be a substantial tank killing potential coming out of Sky Splitter. Stormbreaker receiving massive nerfs here. Stormbreaker, rest in peace. Attack speed increased to 30%. Great. Okay. But the stacking effect is completely removed from its passive, as well as having its damage decreased. And its scaling is changed from 35 bonus physical power to 20% total physical power. So, maybe this makes it hit harder when you're leveled up more, but removing the stacking and decreasing the flat damage on it is really not good for Stormbreaker. But they didn't increase the cost, so maybe it'll kind of be a break even for Stormbreaker. Tainted Rounds, again, stronger anti-heal on all the anti-heal items, which is probably going to be necessary because healing is already kind of strong in the live patch, but it seems like in 1.4 it's going to be even more broken. Terminus, again, getting increased lifesteal, but reducing or losing the bonus lifesteal from its passive, so it's just kind of gaining the flat lifesteal. Terminus still going to be a decent item, does not cause you to overcap attack speed like something like a Noxine Quivers would, so still a strong item on certain heroes where you've already got enough attack speed. Assassin items next. Envy, rest in peace Envy, don't build it anymore ever. Cost increased by 200 is crazy. And Sacrificial Strike critical strikes are reduced to 140%. Keep in mind, normal crits now are 165%. So a 200 cost increase on Envy for even weaker criticals. They really do not want this item to be built. Especially, you remember it used to be just completely broken, it was so strong. So rest in peace Envy, maybe still buildable on certain heroes, but maybe they just know that it's going to be too strong on Fang Mao, so they're just pre-nerfing it. Malady, again getting a pretty big nerf. Reduced ability haste, reduced flat damage on the demise, reduced scaling on the demise, and reduced damage per stack added by demise. So, oh, Malady, man. Big nerfs to the Malady damage. Still going to be probably nice to have it late game once it's stacked up, but going to be a longer road to get grid value out of it. Going to have to get more stacks on it to really benefit from it. Mind Razor, this is what we talked about earlier. It is now gaining the passive of Resolution, so gaining physical power equal to 2% of your maximum mana. It's also receiving a cost decrease and a power decrease. Importantly, the Razor Cleave damage is increasing, but it's only applying to auto attacks. So really, that's what separated this from Overlord, was that Overlord only applied on autos and this applied on abilities. So now this also only applies on auto attacks, but it comes with the Resolution passive. So an interesting item here for sure for mana stacking assassins. So we'll see how that pans out. I think a lot of people will like that. Nightfall getting a shield decrease in the late game. Like I said, this is still going to be a stronger shield than it was before because of armor. Omen getting a damage decrease from 40 to 30 and reduced scaling. I don't think a lot of people are really building Omen right now anyway, so this may take Omen out. I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments if you guys are building Omen, but I don't think a lot of people are getting great use out of it right now. Tainted Trident is receiving some interesting changes as well. Less flat pin, but the Blighted Strike anti-heal is increasing from 40 to 50. So if we take a look at some of like Tainted Rounds got changed from 40 to 45, and then we'll also see some of the other ones like Tainted Blade change from 40 to 45. So seeing Tainted Trident go to 50 is interesting. It'll be the strongest single anti-heal item that you can build in exchange for it just being weaker everywhere else. Bonus damage decreased from 5 to 3%, and physical penetration scaling decreased from 12 to 6. So significantly weaker on the damage added and the pin added, but strongest anti-heal item in the game, it appears, 50%. Fighter items, we've got Berserker's Axe. Movement speed decreased, we're seeing this on all the movement speed items. Blitz damage increased, which is nice, and also the Blitz scaling is getting changed from max health to physical power, so makes this a more attractive item for some more high power, low health build assassin junglers for sure. Cooldown is also getting decreased, so you'll be able to proc it more often if you've got multiple dashes in a fight. I'm thinking like a full power Zarus build. Would definitely like this more, and he already builds it pretty well. Doesn't receive cooldown on hit, but it's got 2 seconds shorter cooldown anyway, and then less movement speed added for going through fog walls. So that's what we're seeing across all items. Citadel, 5 bonus physical power for no extra cost. I'm a big Citadel fan, so I like to see this. Definitely will continue to build it. Legacy getting 5 extra magical armor. Helps to compete with some of the other magical armor items. It's probably getting built the least of all the magical armor items, although it can be good in certain situations. Overlord, this is another one that's getting big changes. Getting increased power and decreased health by quite a bit. Removing the physical power conversion from your amount of health that you have to a new stacking health passive. Upon killing an enemy unit, permanently gain 1 health. Increase to 3 for camp leaders and 5 for heroes. And at 150 stacks, you gain an additional 200 health. So this is what we needed. A stacking health item is going to be very beneficial to tank junglers and solo laners for sure. Love to see this change. Excited for Overlord. Still combos well with a lot of the health scaling items that you were building before, like Rapture, Fire Blossom, Elefrost, and all that. Speaking of which, Rapture cost increased, health increased to go with it, Omnivamp increased to 9%, which is crazy. 10 haste completely removed. Gotta have some sort of nerf in here, I mean, come on. Near sight damage increased slightly, and the scaling increased slightly. So Rapture still going to be very strong. The cost increase is definitely warranted because it is stronger overall now with 9% Omnivamp. So we'll see how that goes. Salvation, shield is getting smaller, less scaling on the shield, activates at a lower threshold, and gives you more Omnivamp. I think overall, with armor being applied to shields, this is still going to be really strong, and extra Omnivamp is nice. So Salvation is still going to be a strong item. Tainted Blade, like I said, decreased or increased healing, increased anti-healing, but decreased damage on it. So mage items, Caustica, a little bit decreased magical bonus power scaling. That's fine. You're building this for the pin anyway, so that's no big deal. Entropy, decreased flat damage. Again, that's no big deal. You're building this for the scaling, not for the flat damage. Noxia actually getting 1% extra max health damage. This is probably going to be a must build when you're playing against multiple tanks. So Noxia definitely getting another nerf or another buff back to back, which is nice. Soulbinder, it's now permanently getting the bonus damage anytime you're hitting abilities after 1450 range, which is really strong. That's not on a cooldown anymore. Only activates against heroes, which is fine. Bonus true damage decreased, so the true damage isn't that big of a deal. It's like the bonus damage being constantly on is really nice, even though it's not quite as much maybe. And then they changed the name of the stacking passive to Farseer, which is the same as before. Gain 1 magical power, and it's on a 10-second cooldown, so really nice there. Tainted Scepter, getting a little bit less stacking damage, flat, and scaling for less burst potential, but in exchange, obviously stronger anti-heal, like we're seeing with all the anti-heal items. Wraith Leggings, less movement speed. Across the board, we're seeing less movement speed. Same thing with Galaxy Greaves, less movement speed. It's just how it is. Now here's some interesting changes. We've got Marshall with an increased range, which makes sense because carries can move faster. But this is really nice. 1100, so it's not quite a full auto attack range of carries, but pretty close. Tainted Charm, increased anti-heal, and again increased range, so you like to see that. This definitely helps carries in their positioning. Tainted Totem, increased anti-heal like all the other anti-heal items. True Silver Bracelet gets a smaller shield and smaller shield scaling, but since shields have armor on them now, this is still probably stronger overall of an item. Vanguardian, again, increased range, helps you position more effectively. I'm seeing this Vanguardian and this Marshall range increase and thinking Muriel might be able to do some damage here with that combo. Warp Stem, so this was or Warp Stream. This was Quantum Core. Its name has just been changed, and the description has been changed to specify that it has it's not damage within 3 seconds instead of being out of combat. So that's great. Great to clarify. Windcaller, a little bit less movement speed added. Again, we've seen that on every item so far. Crystalline Curious, getting increased health and armor, which is really nice because this was one of the lower health added tank items. So this kind of brings it more in line in favor of losing its base health regen, which is fine. And again, less movement speed added and less total stacks, but you get more flat armor, so it's kind of worth it. Frostguard, increase of both, or decrease in physical armor to 45 and increase of magical to 45, so Frostguard's still really only a must build against comps with 3+ auto attackers. That's really the only time you're building it anyway, so this doesn't really change anything too much. Stonewall picking up 50 health I really like. just a decent item overall now. Better value for sure. Tainted Bastion, Tainted Guard, both receiving the standard anti-heal buffs that we've seen across all items. Unbroken Will, going up to 400 health. That makes it more attractive and more in competition with Void Helm, which I still gives 500, I believe. So Unbroken Will, a really good anti-CC item that I am a big fan of. And another item I'm a big fan of, Warden's Faith, moving up to a little bit stronger crit strike reduction, as crit strikes have also gotten a little bit stronger. So that is it for the item changes in this version 1.4 and the general gameplay changes in this version 1.4. Check out the other video if you want to see me talk about Boris, as well as all of the hero changes. There are quite a many hero changes. I mean, geez, that's going to be a long one. Hopefully that one doesn't go over an hour. I know this one's getting pretty close. So thanks everybody for stopping by and checking out this one. Pull up this Ometa City, or this Ometa Studios predecessor website page, which I will also have linked in the description if you want to read through these for yourself in slower detail or focus on other specific parts. But really exciting changes coming. We got Battle Pass, we got voice comms, we've got one new item and a bunch of item changes. A lot more skins to unlock, a lot more cosmetics with the loot crates and stuff like that. And it's just a ton of balance changes. This is going to be the most broken and unbalanced that we have probably ever played predecessor. I mean, look at these just gameplay changes summary. Look at this. There is no way that all of these changes balance out to each other and break even. Certain things are going to be way too strong. Certain things are going to be way too weak. I still think tower damage needs to be tuned up. But we'll see how all this pans out. This is a lot of changes to drop at one time. So expect a balance patch in the near future. But for the time being, hop in here at 1.4 when it releases Tuesday the 11th. And try it out for yourself. See what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think about these item changes. Did your favorite items get nerfed? Or did some items that you enjoy building get buffed? I mean, we've got a huge amount of changes, so I'm sure something is going to make everyone, or there's something to make you happy and something to make you unhappy for everyone. So we will catch you on the next one. Like I said, check out the other video for the hero changes. Come out to the live streams and support us at Goons Cove. Thanks to everybody that's been subscribing and hanging out, queuing some games with us and stuff like that. So we'll see you on the other video, and we'll see y'all tonight live as always.